And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara Podcast. Here's Jeff.
Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. And if you're on the other side of the planet, happy Sunday to you. We've had a very busy week, and I think we're going to have a really busy night tonight. I've already got 5 people waiting in the waiting room. And that's a lot, and I haven't even started yet. So I think this is going to be a really busy night, and I think we should probably get to it. I guess actually before I get started, I want to let you know that I haven't made a catchy slogan for it, but every Saturday I want to post an old video. So far we've posted 799 videos, and today I repurposed one that was from episode number 61. And at episode 61, I may have only had about 10,000 subscribers. So probably the majority of you have never even seen this video. And I think it's a really good one. And there's lots of good ones that are in my catalog that I'm going to try to start posting on Saturdays. And I think you guys will like them. And it's not uncommon for me to have people write to me and ask me, hey, can you please get so-and-so guest on? And a lot of times I say, I've already had this guest, so they don't even know that the guest has been there, you know? I mean, with 799 videos, not many people go all the way back deep into the catalog. So that is one thing that is new. All right, so we've got 5 people here. Let's get started. And the first one is Terry Renner. So let's see what Terry's up to. I can hear you, Terry. I just don't see you yet.
Hi.
Hey, Terry.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Great, thanks. Hi, everybody.
All right. How's it going today?
Really well. How about you?
Awesome. Just been an incredibly busy day.
Yeah.
It's like my life is managing chaos.
Right? Do you feel like you're catching your tail lately?
Sometimes we are just incredibly busy. Busy. But busy's good. It's better to be busy than the opposite, right?
Yeah. Well, you're doing a lot of good here, so it's really amazing. Very impressive.
Well, thank you, and good to see you again. Now, were you going to do a reading for us?
I was,
All
yeah.
right, awesome. So,
Um,
now, I should have sent you what we've done before, and I can tell you quickly.
okay.
What the other person would do is he would create 3 piles, like pile 1, 2, and 3, and he would announce to the audience, okay, you can pick 1, 2, or 3, and this reading will be for you. And then he would draw like a card, and he would do a confirmation card. I mean, I'm sure you have your own style, but that's just something that we kind of played around with. What do you think?
That's really fun. I also have I have a few tools. So I have my crystal, and then I have some cards that
Mm-hmm.
I'd already pulled. So I think that's an excellent idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple of guides that have already come in, and
Oh, wow.
my Angel of Love and Light. I did the download today,
Mm-hmm.
but I've got somebody else that came in. I've got some tall white guardians that
Mm-hmm.
come in.
Now, wait, I'm getting confused a little bit. Were you going to do tarot or were you going to channel for us?
Oh, I could do either
I
one.
couldn't remember what did we say last week? Do you remember?
I think we're going to channel, but I kind of
Oh,
like
well, we can channel. I mean, we can do that. I mean, either way, whatever you would like to do is good for me. I, I think I had offered someone else that was going to come tarot. So maybe we
oh,
can do channel with you. I get that's see, now you see where I'm managing chaos, because between remembering, I need to take notes, remember what I said last week, as well as keeping up with everything. But if we said that you were going to channel, then you were probably going to channel, and maybe someone else wanted to come in and run tarot for us.
okay. And I can come and do tarot next time too.
Yeah, that'd
So,
be awesome.
or
That would be
tonight,
amazing.
whatever.
All right. So who are
So,
you going to be channeling?
well, I have a message from Our Lady,
Our Lady.
and she represents the divine feminine.
Okay.
But right now I'm getting this big hit from these tall whites that come in, and they're galactic beings, and their guides, their guardians that have come in right now while the earth is going through all these changes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming in with protection and shields, but they're also coming in to guide us and to pull us out of the chaos.
All right. Now, I want to let everybody know that I was going to take questions from you guys in the comments. So if you have comments for who she's going to channel, be sure to write them in there, and then we'll get to them. Do you need to take a moment, or you're not I don't think you're a trance channel.
I'm going to do a combo of trance and conscious channeling, and I'm going to because he's coming in really strong right now, and so I thought I'd do that, and I might shake a little bit, or I might have my body might have some look like it has a little electric impulse going through it or something when the energy comes in, because their energy is so much higher, the vibrational quality, than our energy on this planet when we're here on this side of the veil with our ego self. So it'll be, don't be surprised. I'm
All
fine.
right. All right. Well, do you need to get ready in some sort of way?
I'm pretty much here right now. So
All right. Well, let me see if we have any questions here.
okay.
I don't
he
know.
does have a message.
All right.
If we want
Let's
to
hear.
start with
Yeah.
that.
Let's start with that. Would be a great idea.
Okay. We're coming to you from what you would call a vehicle currently. There is no time or space, and yet we are around your planet constantly in motion, working with your energy, working with your planet, this one known as, you might call her, Gaia. She is a sister to all and a mother. We are here to protect you. You might think of this as a physical protection. And yes, that is there as well if you wish it. This is actually a protection to help you in your transition, and transformation. There is much light coming into this planet at this time. As it comes in, your bodies will change. You might be hearing things, a vibration in your ear. Your third eye might feel funny. You might feel us or a loved one with their hand on your third eye. Also, your crown chakra, what is known as the crown chakra. While we are working with your 14th chakra of golden light and sending in love to you and all on the planet at this time. As this comes in, the more of you that are of light, the planet changes faster and you become one of community. This community is known to many here as being of service to others. We want to present to you that service to others is service to self. When you are your true self in a loving vibration and taking care of yourself and your environment, this is the true service to others. Do you have any questions?
Here's one from Deborah. On the other side, are beings always conscious or awake?
The earth is quite particular in that we have the veil here in the ego self. It is a joy to behold. Also, you have what is known as free will. This is not like this on other planets. You are quite rare. There is a tangible aspect to this planet that is quite unique. And while many of us here, and many of us here in this room tonight, are of a different vibration than many on Earth and have come to help, we would say that you have a unique aspect to this conscious self on this planet.
A question from Julie is, when people reunite with their loved ones on the other side, what happens?
There are many things that will happen here. Those of like vibration will be here to meet you. We are already here, but you will know it then. Also, we are here with you at this point. Opening up your vibration more, you will be able to talk to us and hear us. Opening your senses, what you know as your senses on this planet. Now, there are many parties and celebrations when you come back to us because you were so brave to be on this planet and incarnated at this moment in time.
What's been popular lately is talking about that we live in this realm as a simulation. Is that true?
Yes, there are many true aspects to this. You are creators. You were made of divine light. You are all many creators. You are creating at this moment what you see in front of you. If you see this hand, known to this one as Terry, you might think that it is real. It is energy in motion, obviously. And who perceives this energy in motion? Consciousness. Now, as you move out across the universe, perhaps to a spaceship that is located not far away. This ship carries time, the time continuum with it. You can see many different timelines and knowledge of the past, the present, and the future.
Do you think that the simulation that we're all in is going to be ending soon?
Every moment is an ending and a beginning. So, just like what many call the Big Bang theory is constantly in motion. There are many simulations that we create on this planet. It is a different vibration in other densities, other dimensions. And the simulation is done consciously, what you would call consciously, with will, at will manifesting, not needing to eat, not needing to drink, and knowing all and having everything we need. Not on every dimension, but as you progress.
What is the best way to open your third eye?
I would ask all of you, if you can, to touch it right now. See if there is not a vibration there. The more you work with your senses on this planet, because it is such an exciting and tangible time on this planet, with the energy here, listen. Listen to the sounds, listen to the light, taste them, smell them, see them, and know them, and then finally remember. Does this make sense?
Will Jesus be returning soon?
Jesus is always here. The golden heart of Jesus, that beautiful light, is always around us. Will he return in the physical form at this time? This is something that he may choose to do if needed on this planet. We do not foresee it currently. We see that he is with everyone here, and if you can open up your senses to this, the golden heart of Jesus, the golden heart of Buddha, Buddha consciousness, Christ consciousness.
I'm speaking with the galactic being, right?
Yes.
I've heard somebody say that space is not what you think it is.
This is correct. This planet sees things on a linear basis, that there is space, that star is millions of miles away, that there is one universe. And yet, if you look at an atom, it is in constant motion on a cyclical level. There are cycles and cycles and cycles of cycles, universes of universes. Everything is in motion. We want you to remember that while this is a very abstract theory to you at this time, to try to look at energy and motion. Hear it. As you open up your mind more to these senses, sensuality, clairs, This will open up your process to being able to see also the consciousness. What sees this? Who is that? Who am I? I am that.
Do prayers really work?
Yes, we want you to know that your prayers are always heard. Your angels are here with you. Your loved ones that you think of on the other side are always here. We want you to know that they are working with you. You need to request or ask for what you want. Give us jobs. It is our honor to serve. As we serve, we progress. And it's service to you that is in our best service to self as well.
When will full disclosure of ETs happen?
This has happened for years on a very limited level. You are on the brink on this planet of it being more fully disclosed in certain areas. Those of a higher vibration will receive this first, just because it will not create so much chaos. Those that are more of service to self and more in the chaos, let us tell you that there is nothing wrong with that. They are no less a divine being than someone who lives in a monastery. Did this answer your question?
Sorry, I was just trying to either decide if I wanted to use my own question or I'm scanning through the chat to see if there's any other questions.
No time or space.
Yes. Can you tell us more about the galactics and their job?
It is always the same experience of the universal mind, experience of creator, coming back full circle to creator. Each species, and there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands, these beings are all different. Their what you call physical forms have to be different, as the planets are different. A methane planet, a planet made of dust, or perhaps a light planet. There is much going on all these planets. Some of it is service to self. Some planets are still not regressing, but not progressing in the manner in which others have.
And my last question is, can you tell us about the indigo children?
Hybrids. We are all hybrids of some form on this planet. The indigo children, as they come in, their bodies and their minds, their brains, the way they work, are not necessarily made for the planet at this time. They are made for the planet as it progresses. Thus, you will see many cases of autism, what you would call learning disabilities, attention, and allergies. There are many in this group today, perhaps, that have some form of this, and many of your families. this becomes more prevalent as it is known that there are gifts here, major gifts, many gifts. These children are saving this planet. They are children of the stars. As you came here at this time to usher them in and to usher in the change on the planet, they are here in much power. Many say, oh no, these poor children here. The force and the love in these children is an honor to see.
Terry, are you back?
I'm coming back in, yeah.
So were you absent during that, or were you in the background hearing and understanding what was being said?
That's a really great question. I usually forget everything that's been said. I was kind of coming out at the end there.
Well, you're going to have to go back and watch this to see what happened.
Right?
Well, some trance channelers are that way. They have no idea what they had, what's been said.
I rarely do. Yeah, I rarely do. So.
That's amazing. Well, Terry, I have to run. I have 6 people waiting on me. Wow. 5. But thank you so much for coming and channeling with us. Before we go, what is your YouTube channel and website?
Holding Your Space. And my website's not up yet.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to be holdingyourspacealso.com.
All right, perfect. Well, we'll see you back next week for some tarot reading.
Oh, I'd love it. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Well, thank you so much for doing this for us. We appreciate you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thanks, Jeff.
Bye-bye. Thank you. And a big round of applause for Terry. Oh, okay. I don't know if Reverend Melissa, if you're still there, I haven't changed the passcode in 3 years, and we have 6 people in there. So, and I basically record every day. So it must be that I don't know, maybe you need to refresh your entire, like whatever your browser is, you may need to refresh it. Sometimes it's something as simple as that. I hope you don't have to reboot your computer, or you just have to be very mindful of that you're putting it's case sensitive. So what's capital and what's not has to be right on, but it should work for you. And I hope we get you in soon. All right, next we have Dr. Gail. And we'll see what's up with Dr. Gail. Now, I did a podcast with Dr. Gail not too long ago, and we talked about her ET contact. And I wonder if she has some new information for us.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Dr. Gail, what's going on?
Well, lots going on, of course. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thanks for coming back. So are you still up there in Mount Shasta?
I am in Mount Shasta.
How is it up there?
Well, it's actually beautiful now. It's still snow on the mountain where I'm at. I'm at the lower part of the mountain, and the snow's gone and spring has sprung. But going up to even to Bunny Flat is still probably at least 10 feet of snow there.
Wow. Now, are you in the actual town of Mount Shasta? I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I am in Mount Shasta. Yes, Mount Shasta City is what it's called. And I'm in right above it, right there at it.
Well, while I have you here, I'm just going to do a little plug for tomorrow night. Have you ever heard of Dr. Roger Lear?
I haven't.
Dr. Roger Lear had passed a few years ago, but he is the one medical doctor that was cutting alien implants out of people's bodies.
Oh, I have heard about him.
Yeah, and I don't know if his website still exists, but it was called Alien Scalpel. Anyways, I have one of his assistants that I interviewed, which I'm going to be posting tomorrow.
Oh, great.
And we looked at pictures of alien implants that have been cut out of bodies. So if you guys want to see some of those,
I do.
You definitely want to check it out. And what's interesting is, and as a doctor, you probably already would completely get this, that a lot of these implants are already encapsulated by human tissue.
Yes.
Your body kind of walls off these things in your body to kind of protect itself. So you see like human tissue wrapped around these things. Some of them I think have carbon nanotubes in them. And
Yeah.
we talk about one of them, you couldn't even cut it with a diamond tip tool. It was so hard that usually nothing can anything can be cut by that. And they had to finally get a laser to cut that in half. So, and anyways, we mentioned about places, and he said, yeah, he thinks that stuff is still going on up at Mount Shasta, which I think you can confirm. Are you still seeing ships up there daily?
Oh yeah, you see ships here daily, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a normal thing here to see ships, and it's great because I'll go out first thing in the morning and take a look, and I see them. Like I think the most recent one I saw looked like the Macabre. I looked out my bedroom window, and it was like solid white on part of it, and then clear on the other part of it. And I kept going, "What is that? What is that?" And it was huge. It was a Macabre, and I went and got my glasses and looked again. And going, "Wow, I can't believe that! It was beautiful."
So,
and it probably stayed there for about I would say at least an hour.
Now, for those of you that may not know, the Merkaba is a pyramid up intertwined with a pyramid down. Did you see it actually spinning, like especially in opposite directions?
I think that's what I was seeing. Like part of it was clear and part of it was solid white. So I think that was the spinning of it, and it was sparkling. So I think that's what I was actually seeing.
Oh, amazing!
I've never seen one like that before.
So have you had any new ET contacts since our podcast together? And
yes.
If so, what do you got to tell us?
Well, I think the new ET contact was from that Macabre. I had a tall gray hybrid that came in, and my dog was freaking out. She freaks out about a lot of them. And it was coming to give me more information, and it spent probably, I would say it was here for about 6 hours. And I was getting a lot of downloads and a lot of things going on. And he was sent by one of my stories when I was doing rescuing ETs is that I had to go out and rescue these 3, what I call them, arrogant aristocrats. They were gray hybrids, and they were treated us like we were nothing. And and I made a mistake because I was still new at it, telling my pilot Monto that we need to pretend like we have a big other rescue mission to go to, and we're going to leave them here because of the way they're acting, and take off and come back, because they were mad that they had waited so long for us, which is, time isn't linear there. But anyway, I forgot that we were telepathic and they heard everything I said. And so it was a very quiet.
You got to be mindful of your thoughts, I guess.
Yes, you do. And so it was a very quiet ride back. But apparently it was only one of them that was like that. The other 2 weren't. And I was noticing the one that was really arrogant. Well, one of them sent this guy to me the other day. He's the one that sent the Macabre with that ET in it. And it was just coming to me to do some healing and doing some giving me some more information, increasing my vibration. And it seems like it gave me more healing gifts, that my healing abilities have increased since that visit.
Wow.
And which I just finished a show, which I do a show usually about once a week. It's called the Solaris Healing Center, where people come in and I do healings, and I bring them on like you, 1 or 2 people, like you bring them on, and I'll do some specific healing on some of them. And I do some chiropractic adjusting also, energetically, which is pretty amazing. I wish we knew about this ability years ago that we could do this. We could be sitting home adjusting, Jeff.
Wow.
Yes. And it's just as powerful energetically. It's amazing. But my message today really, I wanted to come on and talk about is that we seem to be, especially in the woo-woo world, we seem to be okay talking about mediums, psychics, sensitives, the near-death experience. We're okay about tarot readers. We're okay about channelers. We're okay about shamans, elementals, orbs. But when it comes to the ETs, we cross the line. Even here at Mount Shasta, everything's accepted. But when we start talking about ETs, people get extremely uncomfortable with that. It's almost like, I think it comes from the 1940s, the Roswell. We shamed all the people who were having ET experiences or said they had ET experiences or being abducted. I think it kind of stems still from that. And I just want to put it out there that my channel is trying to normalize these ET experiences and allow people to come forth and talk about them and not be shamed or about those experiences, and to normalize that we are having them. But I think we still have that left over from the 1940s, 50s on up. That's just one line that's a harder hurdle to jump over. And I have found that even at Mount Shasta. I mean, because I am a medium, I'm a psychic, I'm a channeler, I'm all these things, but mainly I'm working with the ETs. So that was my message for today.
So are you saying that the local population in Mount Shasta is kind of against you and anybody else talking about ETs?
Well, I can't say they're against it, but that is a line that's crossed that puts you a little bit in the crazier category or questionable category, because we have been so trained that we do question that. We're really not questioning, we're really accepting all these other areas. And I think that's just the hardest one, because, as I said, a lot of people had some issues in the past with claiming they had been abducted or, they've been shamed. And I think that feeling is still a little bit there. We're coming around to it. And as I said, my channel's geared towards normalizing our experiences. And it is a safe place for people to come talk about it. So that's my message today.
Well, I've been trying to get an ET on my show. Can you put, do you think it's actually possible?
I think you probably already have had one.
Really?
Yeah. I think you probably have interviewed and they just didn't announce as who they were.
Wow. Now I have to go back and look at my library and see who was it.
In fact, I think I'll do that for you. Go back and see who might be who.
Oh, really? Did you see the one that I posted today?
No, not. What was that one?
Now, what I've been doing, what I've started today is every Saturday, I want to go back and post old videos that people may have never seen, because I'm up to 799.
Yeah, I heard you talking about that.
And that was number 61. And this is a man who was, he's from Texas. There was an ET that was buzzing around the oil wells, and he decided to shoot a astronomy laser on it. And they paid him a visit the next night in his house and paralyzed him and took him out of his body, kind of like an out-of-body experience, pulled his consciousness out of his body, and ultimately took his consciousness to, I don't know, a space station somewhere where they've already cloned his body.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
They're not, I don't think they really like those laser pointers at them.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I get, is that they really don't, because it kind of disrupts their vision, or it disrupts what's going on in the spaceship, that they're not real happy about that. So I'm not surprised he got a visitation.
Right. Well, Dr. Gail, I've got to run. I've got people waiting on me, but thanks for coming and hanging out with us. And what is the name of your YouTube channel again?
It's Dr. Gail Skywalking with Moon.
All right. So there.
Well, next time I'll come on and answer the questions about ETs. I'll channel for you.
All right, great. That sounds good.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause for Dr. Gail. Oh, thank you. I want to say thank you very much to Talise for that super thanks. And thank you for being our #1 fan. All right, so let's get Melinda in. Now, also, while we're waiting for Melinda, well, I guess I'll have to tell you next time. Melinda's here. Melinda, wow, thank you for getting one of our t-shirts. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Now I'm one of the biggest fans. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I need to wear my t-shirt again.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we are planning on, once we hit 100,000 subscribers, that we may switch vendors and have like a whole new line of stuff out for you guys. So, but anyways, thank you again so much for getting the shirt. It looks
Of
good on
course.
you.
So I know you're busy tonight, and so I'm coming on to share. I went to a live event last night for
Oh, wow.
John Edward,
John
the
Edward?
yeah, the world-renowned psychic. And for the people that don't know how he reads, I'll try to do a quick recap or tell people how he reads somebody. I did get a reading, that's why I'm on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and there was like 400 people in the room, and like maybe 12 people got read. I knew I would get read. I knew my mother would come through. But how he reads is when he starts with somebody and he is asking them, for validations of what he's seeing, what their loved ones are coming through. That leads into like people around them, to where they're like, no, I don't have any connection to this. Well, somebody behind them or next to them will have a connection, and then they'll stand up, and then their person is coming through for them. So I actually was sitting kind of right in the middle, and he had started on the one end, and I took notes. And he had started on the one end, and there was a lot of things that he had said and names that kind of coincided. And that's how, when John does a reading, our loved ones usher in other loved ones, like taking turns. Like they'll bring up something, and if it doesn't pertain to them and it pertains to somebody else, and it stays like in that group, and then he's pulled to the other side of the room so he knows where to go. So last night he had been pulled to the front, kind of not too far from me, but I started hearing things that I knew was the beginning of, I was gonna get read. And my body started humming. And like one of the things, some of the things, the one lady, and the more he said, the closer it got to me, the more it spot on he was. And the one lady, he was asking her about like let's see here, I don't want to say her story really, about out of the country, being out of the country. Did she know somebody, or was she out of the country? Was she moving? I, not too long ago, about 4 years ago, was planning on moving out of the country. And he was saying about the loss of a brother. Since my mom has passed, my brother doesn't speak to me. And so like the closer he's like hitting.
Are you there? I lost your voice. Hello? I think you're back now.
Okay, I think I have my phone on ignore, but so anyhow, then he was saying things that didn't pertain to this lady. And so a guy about 6 people away from me stood up and said, I understand that. And so he was asking him questions, and which it all kind of related to me, but you don't stand up there and go, yeah, me too, wait until they come on something that they are not, resonating with. But as he was talking to him, he said, is there a person in the family named Sarah? And she's, whoo, Looney Tunes. And there is somebody in my family that's really pretty Looney Tunes. And so as he's saying this stuff, like my body inside is humming more and more, and like audibly humming, like I could hear audible humming. But anyhow, then he said, who in the family is watching The Price is Right and Wheel of Fortune? And they said a different game show. Well, my mom watched The Price is Right and Wheel of Fortune every single night. And then he said, he said, well, it's not really that game show. He said, it's specifically the Wheel of Fortune and the Price is Right. And he said, is there a Sammy or a Pammy, a Pam? My mom's name is Pam. And they couldn't relate to that. And he said, and there's a name Frank, and they were still kind of stumped on that. Well, my one daughter calls me Frank. Okay, so I knew my mom's coming even more. So then he got to the point and he asked the man, he said, you had a dream about your mom recently. And he said, and there was something different about her head, like hats or something on her head. And he said, yeah, it was her hair was different. Well, I put hats on my mom's urn. I put for different seasons. I changed the hat out at Halloween. She's got, the Viking horns, and so I changed the hats. And two, when John Edwards is reading, it's no coincidence that things that who he's reading for is relatable to people around them. Like he said, you're sitting where you're sitting for a reason. The people you're sitting around for a reason specifically. And then he had said about he said something about driving an 18-wheeler, and the guy had related to that and so on. And he said to the lady, he said, you drive with 2 feet. And she said, no, but I used to. And he said, well, the person coming through says that they taught you how to drive. And she said, that's correct. And he said, did you drive a stick shift? And she said, yeah. And he said, a clutch. Well, my favorite band is Clutch. Like, I have the name on here. And I knew, like, I was like, oh my gosh, he's coming to me next. I just knew it. And he said also about the October birthday, which is my daughter's birthday, and they did relate to that too. And he said about a shoebox with the British flag on it. Well, England is where I was going to move to. And then he said, and I'm either getting twins or the Gemini. He said, the sign I'm being shown is either means somebody is a twins in your family or a Gemini. And they couldn't relate, but my mom's a Gemini. And so like everything was relating to me. And then finally he said, okay, where in the family, what's up with the stolen headstone? What's up with stealing headstones? And they couldn't relate at all. And he said, it has something to do with stealing in like cemetery, like headstone. And so then I raised my hand and I said, well, my mother's cremains were stolen. And this is true. You can't make this crap up. When I was going through a divorce, my ex-husband stole my mother's cremains and walked out of the house with them. And actually, it was a domestic violence situation, and he had went to jail, and I went to court about it. And the restitution, the judge ordered him to give me my mom's remains back because we were married. They were his remains equally. And so anyhow, so I said, my mom's cremains had been stolen. And so he said, well, give her the microphone. And he, of course, is like, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah. And he's standing there and he's like listening or whatever he's doing. And he said, well, this was a hostage type situation, like held the cremains hostage. I said, yes. Now, normally when you hear something is stolen cremains, even cremains, you're thinking the house must have got broken into or whatever, but he was spot on. He knew it was a hostage type situation. And I said, yes. And I said, and I got him back. And he said, and I was the only person, he said this exact words. He said, you were expecting to hear from your mother tonight? And I said, absolutely. With everybody else, he would say you were hoping to hear from your father or whatever, but I knew I would hear from my mom. And I knew I would get a reading. I knew it. So anyhow, and I said, yes, absolutely. And then he said, are you going to Florida? He said, you're going to Florida. And I said, my daughter's going. My daughter's actually leaving on Monday for Florida.
Wow.
And he had touched on in a couple other things that he said, does the name Bill or Billy mean anything to you? One of my first client ended up being my best friend, and his name was Bill, and he passed away, and his son Billy had passed away. But also my granddaughter's father, the baby daddy, his name, we call him Billy. And he kind of was abrupt with how he ended it with me. It was really weird because most other people, it didn't seem as abrupt. But anyhow, when he said about the Billy and that, and he said, okay, thank you very much for coming. And then the lady came and got the microphone, and it seemed really abrupt to me. And I know how he reads, so that was kind of weird. And then the people that he went to right after me, he was saying about a boomerang. Do you have a boomerang? And they couldn't resonate with that at all. Well, my daughter has a boomerang, and he was saying there's writing on like symbols on this boomerang, and there is symbols on the boomerang. He left me too soon, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And he had said to them, I'm getting the vision of Barbara Eden. And they said, well, my dad liked to watch I Dream of Jeannie. And he said, or they said something about, well, he liked how she looked or something. He said, no, I think more like the name Jeannie. Is there a Jean or a Jeannie? And my grandma that passed away like a year and a half ago, her name was Jean. And sometimes people called her Jeannie. Also, I want to say too, I did say about he said my mom's name, Pam. But anyhow, so with the genie thing, and he said, no, I was thinking Jeannie, and they couldn't relate to a genie. And then he said, and where's the Kevin at? Well, any of you who knows me knows that like my favorite little dog that I get to watch is Kevin. He's been on the show. He's almost as cute as Mika.
Oh.
And they couldn't relate to the Kevin thing either. So like I said, I think he left me too soon. I don't know why. But it was an amazing reading. It was amazing that I got read.
I think
I'm not surprised that I got read. Oh, and two, I am forgetting like the most important thing almost. One of the reasons that I wanted read is because I know my mom's proud of me, but I for whatever reason, I want to hear it. And so when he was reading me, he said, your mom's not mad at you. And I just stood there, and he said, do you think your mom's mad at you? Did you think she was mad at you? And I said, well, no. And I said, well, I was an alcoholic. And I said, as a matter of fact, 1 month from today is my 1 year anniversary.
Oh.
And the whole room started clapping and congratulating me. And so like on the way home in that, I'm just thinking my mom staged it so that whole room and clapped for me. And then after, when I was leaving, when everything was said and done, the 4 ladies behind me, the one lady, she said, us 4 ladies are in the program, in the AA program, and we're very proud of you. And she said, I love you, honey. Wow. And I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so cool. Well, Melinda, yeah. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. I need to run. I've got 4 people waiting on me.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
I love everyone.
All right, we love you too. Oh, she's already gone. And there's a big round of applause for her. All right, next up is Susie Swan. Let's bring her in. And what was I going to... Oh, I just remembered what I was going to say, and then it's too late. That's okay. Hello? Oh, it's still connecting to audio. Now you're here. Can you hear us? Hi, how's it going?
Well, pretty good. How are you?
Great to see you again.
An interesting show tonight.
Right. Now, you were the one that had all these past lives as the Red Baron and other people, basically, right?
Well,
not the Red Baron, but
I was
related.
Lothar,
Mm-hmm.
Red Baron's brother.
Right. I did a podcast. I recorded one today with a man we talked about his book, and he's had past life memories going back 6,000 years.
Wow.
I mean, not every single life, of course, but it's pretty amazing. So what do you got to share with us tonight?
I always have so much. It's hard to choose. I do want to say something. Mm-hmm. At some point, because I do like being on the show with you, and mm-hmm. I appreciate it. And at some point, I will be sharing my alien encounters and my implant, but not tonight.
Is it an energetic one or a real one? It
was a real implant.
There's a physical one.
Yeah, it's a physical implant. Is it
still in your body, or did you get it cut out?
It was. It came out.
You cut it out, or it fell out?
Yeah, it fell out.
Wow. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it next time then, I guess. What do you have to talk about tonight then?
Okay. So I have two synchronicities that mm-hmm. are mind-blowing. So the first one, several years back, I met a gentleman named Gail Walker, and he's kind of known as the crystal man of the 70s. He has the large ancient crystal skull rainbow. But in any case, he made these necklaces, this necklace that I'm wearing right here.
Nice.
And I pretty much never take it off. So several years ago, when I still lived at my dad's, I got into bed like I always do. Now, I sometimes would take this off to take a shower. And so I couldn't remember. Now, I woke up at about probably 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I sat up and I noticed that my necklace was missing. And I thought that was odd, because that's not supposed to happen. Now, sometimes what can happen is this. It'll go and it'll be behind me and it'll be right up against my throat. So then I started to panic, thinking, where's my necklace? And I start going like this and I don't feel anything, right? So then I'm really, really getting upset. And I'm thinking, because this necklace is basically irreplaceable. And I'm really getting upset about it. I start turning the covers over. I'm yelling. I'm frustrated. I'm like, where's my necklace? So finally I get up, I go use the restroom. And then I'm thinking it's got to be around here somewhere. So I get back into bed and I'm almost in tears at this point, because I can't understand where it could possibly be. Well, I get back into bed and I lean over and it falls out from behind my neck, which is weird because I felt and I didn't feel anything, right? So it was really, it never went anywhere. It was always on, right? So I am a reader and I have like 400 books. I read anything and everything. And I had just so happened to pick up this book. And I had never read this before. It's The Tao of Now. Mm-hmm. So I was relieved when I found my necklace, Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely relieved, because it's irreplaceable. So I pick up this book. Now, I had never read a single thing out of this book. It was just a random book that I just happened to have, right? And I opened this book. And this is very short, but I kid you not. The very first page that I open it to, it's random. And the page is The Lost Necklace.
Oh, wow.
So just that alone, I was just losing it. I said, this is impossible. And it says, a lady is wearing a necklace around her neck. She forgets it, imagines it to be lost, and impulsively looks for it here, there, and everywhere. And believe me, I was tearing up my bed. She asks her friends if they have found it anywhere, until one friend points to her neck and tells her to feel the necklace around her neck. Okay, obviously didn't have a friend there, but it was on my neck. But the point of this is, she once was miserable and now she is happy. So also with the realization of the self. I thought that was so interesting because it says, no special effort is necessary to realize the self.
Mm-hmm.
All efforts are for eliminating the present obscuration of truth. And I just was like, I just could not understand that such a thing could occur. But in any case, that's my first synchronicity. You want to hear the second one?
Sure.
Because the second one is even better than this one, believe it or not. I got to take my glasses off. But I mean, this stuff is just hard to wrap your mind around. Because what are the odds out of 300 little short stories in this book that I'm going to open the book to the lost necklace? Well, the second synchronicity is even more trippy. So what happened was I had a dream. And what's the name of that dream guy?
Oh, he's probably here. I thought I saw him. Michael Suarez, and I think his screen name is Creative Learning or Creative Learning New York.
Cool.
Now that we
Well, he
mentioned
might like
him,
my dream. I mean, I don't know what he could possibly, come up with this in this dream because it's a little bit random. But this dream that I had was extremely vivid. I mean, really like, what do you call it? Like lucid dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
So in this dream, I'm looking at a landscape, and across the landscape are these big black gates, and behind the gates is a village. Okay. But off in the distance, this is the part that's important. Okay. This is very specific. Off in the distance, I see like purple mountains with snow, covered with snow. And then like some jagged peaks that have like some flat areas. And on top of this one flat area, there's a person standing there. Now, this person was wearing a leather cloak and leather pants. He had a staff. But Jeff, this wasn't a human being. This was a bird man. So he had the head of a hawk or something like that. And I thought it was really interesting. And he had these big wings. And he's just standing there. And so I'm at these iron gates. And in the dream, somehow I know that something terrible is happening, like an apocalypse or of some sort. And I'm shaking these gates and I'm telling the people to run because I'm like, there's monsters. And I'm like, it's the end of and I'm telling them, don't you know it's the end of the world? So somehow I got through the gates, and there's like some kind of big apartment complex. And I go up in there and I'm telling everybody to run for their life. And I go into like an open apartment, and then the monster's coming, and I pretty much knew I was dead. But the next thing I know, I hear the Birdman, and he says, not this one. And he shoos the monster away, and he comes into the room. And then he wraps his wings around me, and he tells me it's okay. And he tells me that he loves me. And he tells me, don't you remember me? He says, I've been waiting forever for you. Okay, so that's a dream. But what's so bizarre is this. I had a particular little used bookstore that I used to go to in Livermore because, I'm a book hound. And I guarantee you that I have never seen this book before. So it couldn't have been something that I had seen, because I asked the counter lady, I said, did you have this particular book? And she says, no, we just got it. So there would have been no way for me to have seen this book, but I want you to see the cover of this book. And I haven't read it because it's not something I'm interested in reading, but are you able to see the cover? The lighting might not be so great.
Land of... it looks like a Birdman.
Yeah, this cover is the exact picture in my dream. The rocks, the purple snow-covered mountains, the Birdman with his staff. And I couldn't believe it. That's why I have this book. I haven't read it. It's not a book that I would probably read.
Well, why haven't you read it? Because there may be another synchronicity waiting for you in the book.
And you know what? I've thought about that. And I asked myself that because it says Tibet in 1896, a spiritual adventure. So maybe I should maybe I should read it, but
Yeah.
But I mean, look at this is like a snapshot from my own dream.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Susie.
So I wonder what the dream guy can interpret out of that.
Yeah. Susie, I need to run. I've got 4 people waiting on me, but thanks for coming and sharing with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And I
It was
look
fun.
forward to hearing what you read in that book.
Okay. I'll let you know.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And a big round of applause for Susie. All right, next up is Bobby Richardson. So what I was trying to say is that on our music channel, you can see the link below. About a week or 2 ago, I put up an old video, these alien-oriented videos, and then just like 2 nights ago, I put up another one. And these are all videos that I made a long time ago. I mean, gosh, this is like probably 2005, 2006, just kind of fun stuff when I used to produce music, and then I started just kind of making little videos for it. And so I hope you like it if you take a look at it. Hello, Bobby. Oh.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Well, you're muted again. 1 second. There you are.
Hello.
Hi. Well, happy Sunday to you. How are you?
Yes, it's actually Mother's Day here.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to you. I don't
Thank
know.
you.
I didn't know if, the Mother's Day we have, is it just celebrated in the US, or is it a worldwide thing? Because I know that there's International Women's Day, but I don't know if, different countries have their own date of Mother's Day.
I think it changes. The Mother's Day changes all around the world, but the Father's Day is on the same, something like that.
I don't know. Well, what are you doing to celebrate today?
My 2 daughters are here, so I'll connect with them after this interview.
Awesome. That's great. All right. Well, what do you have new to share with us today?
So I was thinking of bringing up one of the stories that happened to me. My guides, when they were teaching me, they started to teach me how to handle or control my mind.
Cool.
And it's a really cool story that started. And the reason why they're bringing it up is because at this stage in the evolution of humanity, we need to learn how to control our minds. Yeah. So this is what happened. I was 27 years old and I was traveling in New Zealand to a place called Akaroa. And I was in a real super funk, mine's really negative. It's going to be boring. This is going to be horrible. My partner at the time, fiance at the time, he's just going to take off and do his photographs because he was a photographer, and I'm going to be left in the cold and I'd hate it. How that happens in your head.
Right.
Anyways, we're driving along and I had one of the first major contacts I've had from my guides. And I didn't know what was happening. I was like, some sort of voice was talking to me in my head saying, well, why don't you just think positively? And I'm thinking, yeah, whatever. And it kept on repeating, well, why not? There's no one else can tell what's going on in your head, only you. So why not give it a shot? Why not give it a try? See what happens. And we kept on traveling, and I was kind of ignoring it, but I was sort of talking to it as well, this voice in my head. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's going to make any difference to reality, right? But we get to this beach, and the same voice said in my head, open the car door and dig. And so I opened the car door and I was feeling a bit of a fall, but there was nobody on the beach because New Zealand is just beaches, right? So this is just a random pullover. My partner saw an opportunity to take photographs. And so I thought, okay, I'll do what you're saying because there's no one else to see me digging the sand for no reason. So I opened the car door and I just dug. And I dug up this solid gold bracelet that was thousands of dollars with a tattered heart on it that is a bit beaten, a silver earring and a green stone pendant. And I'm like, holy crap, okay, they've got my attention. Maybe I should start listening to this voice. And then it was telling me to just enjoy the moment with the waves and I started playing games with I think she was a 10-year-old daughter at the time, with the waves. But as it progressed, they kept on coming into my mind and teaching me little snippets on how to control my thoughts. And one of the biggest ones was to put a default image in my brain. So they said the default image is just anything that you're not emotionally attached to. So if you're emotionally attached to something, then the logical mind can use it against you. So at first I used a fluffy duck because I thought it was really cute, but my logical mind kept running it over. So I started with, after that, a sunflower. And they said, whenever you catch yourself thinking in a negative way that you don't want that reality to be in your story, to bring this default image in and just keep using it as a go-between to stop it's like you're learning to control your mind. And they said it was like going to a gym to exercise. You got to keep on keeping it up, but it gets easier as it goes along. So I started to do this, and after about a year, I got really good at it. And they brought in, now we can bring in the imagination. And no one, like humanity, has really not been taught how to use their imagination appropriately. So then they said, bring in the imagination now, and you can start to use that to change the story. So, okay, you don't like that story happening, and you can see it coming because it's happened in the past, and these things are predictable, blah, blah, blah. And so reality ends up being predictable. But how about we shift the story using our imagination to something different? So in other words, say, for instance, say an ex-partner was coming in trying to annoy me or something like that, I would imagine him being distracted by something else. So I was using my imagination. And then they took it to one step even further than that. And they said, do you realize that you can actually manifest in real time? And I'm like, wow, how do we do that? And they're like, you learn how to still your mind completely. So you are then at 0 point, and where nothing exists, everything exists all at the same time. So you can actually focus your intention in a possibility that could happen in real time. But your logical mind has to agree with that. So I found myself, this is a couple of years later, after quite a few, as I was clearing my mind, I had quite a few premonitions where I knew things were going to happen, and they happened because I started to clear and peel away my logical thoughts, creating my story. It gave this opportunity or opening for premonitions to happen. So anyway, a couple of years later, I found myself on a field, and I was camping, and I thought to myself, they've already taught me how to steal my mind for at least, a few seconds. And so I'm going to see if I can create something and manifest something in real time. And I was walking in this field, and I thought, I know what I'm going to do, because I know my logical mind can accept this. I'm going to find a 4-leaf clover without looking for it. So I didn't see any 4-leaf clovers around the camping area, but at least my logical mind would say that exists. So, but it's still out there, right? So what I did is just sat down in the middle of this field. I didn't look anywhere. I closed my eyes straight away, and I just focused in on my mind and centering myself to 0 point where nothing exists and everything exists at the same time. Mm-hmm. But I'd already projected out that I was going to pick a 4-leaf clover. And I didn't open my eyes. I just picked what I thought was a blade of grass. And I opened my eyes, and here's this 4-leaf clover looking at me. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Oh my God, we've got to really think about how we're thinking here, what our thoughts are actually doing, and how we're creating our reality. And it was.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but somebody in the chat asked if you still have that gold bracelet that you found.
Actually, the gold bracelet, after about 2 years, I started to get this real pull to come to Australia from New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And I ended up taking massive leaps of faith through trusting myself and creating my own path. like really big, like jumping the gun and coming here and not having enough money and all of that sort of stuff, but still knowing I was going to be carried. And when I got here and I met my girl's dad, I went karaokeing, which I love because I'm a singer, singer-songwriter as well. And I lost it at that pub. And they said, you cannot keep holding on to things, stories, you know. It was like a lesson of letting go as the story goes along. That's the whole point that they were making with my mind anyway, to keep letting go of the stories as we go along. So I did lose it that night.
It's too bad.
I had a little cry, but I got over it as quickly as I possibly could, like they had taught me. So
let me ask you something here real quick. When you first start hearing the voice, do you start thinking to yourself, am I crazy, or am I going crazy, or anything like that? And how do you finally decide, okay, I'm not crazy, and listen to it?
So at first, when I was in that car, I was thinking I was going a little crazy. And it was weird because it kept answering me and things that I didn't know the answer to. But then as time went along, well, especially, you know, digging up a gold bracelet, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've got to listen to it, because how can a voice lead me to digging in the sand along all this beach that my partner pulled up at, and there's nobody there. There was no car parks. It's just a random sand dune. And then also many things happened, like they were saying, they would tell me, you have money coming to you to go to Australia. It's in the letterbox at home. And I'm like, okay, it's in the letterbox at home. And then I'm driving along to my mum's place that I was living in at the time as I was saving up to go to Australia. And I opened the letterbox, there's nothing there. And they said, no, because she's already grabbed it. Your mum's grabbed it, put it on the TV. And I'm like, okay, it's on the TV. And then I ran upstairs and here's this letter on the TV with thousands of dollars in it for me to fly over to Australia. So you can't deny these things when they happen. They're too much in your face, right? So yeah, when things accumulate like that, I know that it's not me. But I also know that there is a part of me that's connected to them, and that's through the soul. So there's an understanding, there's a link between us both. Yeah.
Well, Bobby, thank you so much for coming and sharing.
That's all right.
What is your YouTube channel?
YouTube channel is Bobby the Messenger.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And your website?
Codes to a New Reality.
All right.
So yeah.
All right, great. Well,
if anyone's interested.
You guys want to see more of what Bobby's up to, there's her social media places. And again, Bobby, thanks for hanging out with us, and we wish you
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
All right,
bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. And we'll give her a big round of applause. All right, we got to keep moving on. We have probably one of the busiest nights we've had in a long time. Next up is Melissa. And I can see, well, Melissa, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How are you?
Hey, perfect.
Nice to see you again.
Oh,
Where are you zooming from? I forgot.
I'm in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, that's right. Temecula or something.
Near Tahlequah, yeah.
Tahlequah.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good memory considering for all the people you talk to.
Right. Now, I have Melissa. Are you the Reverend Melissa?
I can hear a reverberation. Can you hear that, Jeff?
No, I just hear you.
I hear like a.
Maybe you.
Hang on.
Now, are you going to do reading for us? A tarot reading?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I figured out what was going on.
Okay. What was the problem?
It was the background for the YouTube.
Oh,
you know, because when I joined, then I was hearing that too, so it was like lagging. Yes, I am. Would you like a reading?
Well, I like a group reading, and the way we used to do it is that Merlin used to take 3 piles,
Okay.
and so that way people in the chat can choose pile 1, 2, or 3,
Oh,
and then you can read off each one, and hopefully that will mean something for them.
um,
Can
I'm
you
not
do
quite
something?
sure.
Can you do like
What
that?
Well, I was going to say if people put a question in, I could answer like that. I've never really read like that, and where we're live.
Okay,
I'd
let's do
much
then.
rather do what I'm used to.
All right, well then let's do it your way. We
Okay.
got about a 30-second delay. So these can be personal questions, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
if someone
Yeah.
says, am I going to get a new boyfriend? Am I going to
Yeah.
meet a new guy at the bar tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to say yes or no. All right, so if you have a
Yeah.
personal question here, should I call you Melissa? Or
Yeah.
if you have a personal question for Melissa, we'll see what she will read for you.
Mhm.
And will you be doing quick reading or fast reading?
I
Because we
can
have
I can
300 people here, and there may be
I
like
can do quick. I can get
okay.
them an answer quick. Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right, here's the first one. Is my dad around me?
Okay, let me see. So I want to
This
look
is
at their
from Jay
name.
Frasato.
Okay, Jay, let me see. Is Jay's dad around him? I'm hearing yes, very
Oh.
much so. And we have the lovers card coming in for this
Mhm.
answer to this question. And this tells me a little bit about the relationship. It was harmonious. And I feel like he watches over him
Mhm.
and kind of make sure that things work out for him from spirit. And it also says to me that he knows that there might be some choices or decisions coming in for him as well. And I'm hearing balance and positivity with the
Mhm.
lovers card.
Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry. It was just a letter J, and actually it's a her. It's Jerry.
Okay, okay, Jay, that's okay. I could still read the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Just as long as I had something to look at. Uh-huh.
All right.
Okay. I
All right.
see that. I'm her. I'm watching the chat too on the thing. Yeah.
Clear Vibration says, what's coming for me in the next 3 months?
Okay, the next 3 months. What's vibration? So, wow. Okay, so the cards just flew out. And first we have a major arcana card, which is the Chariot. And that's saying there's a lot of focus going on here for this person. I can't remember their name. It's going so fast. And
Clear
then there's going to
Vibrations.
be, we have the Devil card, but that's kind of like duality. So there's always dark and light. There's always going to be people that come in and share their opinions. But this card saying, do what makes you feel good. Don't listen so much about other people. And there's 3 major arcana cards here. So the Magician comes in. So that tells me this person has what it takes. They have the mindset, they have the ideas, they kind of have that inner magic to get this done. And then lastly, we have the Queen of Cups, and that is intuitive as well, sensitive, very healing, nurturing. And I feel like the Queen of Cups comes in also as a person to help them along to make their decisions, because they're going through some major spiritual things with these 3 major arcana cards. So that's what I get for them.
You know, I'm
That's a
drawn.
lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot going on. That would take like 30-minute reading, but this is just my quick
Right.
take on how I feel the cards. So
I'm
yeah.
drawn to this image behind you. What is that on your?
Okay, so I'm a spiritual artist, and this is a painting that I for my nephew. It's an angel tummy painting, and what it is meditate.
Oh,
And
very cool.
no paintbrush ever hits the canvas. These are all abstract.
Oh, wow.
And this was his angel that showed up. There's Archangel Michael.
Mm-hmm.
There's even some writing here that has to do with some past lives for him. He's an amazing child, and I knew it was going to be just by this angel painting. So this was his painting, and you can see the wings that appeared, and
Yeah.
there's just all kinds of. So everybody, I don't just do them for babies in the tummy.
Mm-hmm.
I also do them for people, everybody, because we all have our angel team and they show up in the painting. So yeah, I could do one for you, Jeff.
All right. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'd love it. It'd be great.
So that was that. I'm sorry. Just wanted to put it closer so you could see it, so you were drawn to it. Now it's crooked, but that's all right. All right.
All right. And the next is from Madiak 1980, and he wants to know if he will, or he or she, I better get it right. I don't know. Hopefully I'll get it right this time. Is going to get a job soon.
Okay. So I'm hearing yes. So let's see what the cards have to say. They're saying you are ambitious, and it's kind of felt like I had some of these fall out backwards, like things have been a struggle. That's what I'm hearing. So there is some conflict. So the card also, what I was getting psychically, that you are having a little bit of conflict over this. So this is kind of like something you're battling within. You might want to be changing your career path or something to that effect, but you're not sure if you should. And if you've been thinking about it, the universe is saying to you, make a choice, make a decision. And yeah, so then we have the Hierophant come in as well. And that is kind of conformity, kind of going with the flow here, and not thinking so hard. And I'm also hearing like restructure and revisit, and kind of retweak some things on the resume, and things will come in. So that's what I got for Matic 1986.
The next one is for Gerline, and she wants to know what's my career path I should focus on. Looking for a new job right now, and I need some guidance.
Okay, so you get the High Priestess, and this tells me you have the strength, you have the inner knowing. I feel like you're being pulled in many different directions, and Spirit saying trust your intuition. Know that you do have the answers. Don't look outside of yourself for them. Drop into your heart and ask yourself, what is it that I need to do right now? What makes me happy? And the answers will come. So that's what I get for Arlene.
That is named Sunny wants to know any messages from my mother.
Okay.
I guess it's her mother.
Okay, Sunny. Messages from. Is it a she?
I guess.
Okay,
it's
hard.
SU.
If they can put their first name in there, that would be great. So
right,
message from her mother. So. All right. So you get the Page of Wands coming in. So what I'm going to say is, if your mom were here, she would be pointing you in new directions if you've been feeling a little bit stagnant lately. And you might be having some news information coming to you, so you might want to look out for that. And also, this would be a good time to start a new project. And I feel like inspiration will come, and you will see signs from your mom, from the spirit world, and she's going to be sending you butterflies. That's what I'm seeing, all kinds of those beautiful orange monarch butterflies. So be on the lookout for those.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, I've got time for one more, and then I've got,
perfect.
I think, 5 people waiting on me, so I got to keep getting moving. And the last one's from my wife. We usually don't ask, but I'm going to ask for her today, and that is, will we buy a house this summer?
Okay, because I had asked you if you wanted a reading at first, but you probably didn't hear me, and I had cards all set out for you, but this was for you, Jeff, because you had the crown chakra coming in, and that means you're being filled with, downloads and inspiration. So, and you kept getting like rebirth for your card. Let me shuffle again. So I knew something's ending and something's starting. So I would have to say yes by that. But I feel like you get the 6 of Cups, and that says to me, this is about enjoying the simple things in life right now. So just kind of go with the flow. Everything's going to fall into place, I'm hearing. And then you have the Judgment card come in. So I feel like this is weighing things out. This is balance. I feel like you might be being too hard on yourselves by trying to figure things out too quickly. And then lastly, you have, this won't be your last card. You get the 5 of Swords, because that tells about more like conflict coming in, like trying to decide. I am hearing, yes, you will find something. I'm hearing August. So, and then you're going to feel like, the Fool is a great card because you're going on a journey. And this is, you find what you want, and it's a journey of the heart. So that's what I feel. I feel like you are manifesting this, but it's hard because sometimes we do run into conflict because we think we want something, we want everything to be perfect, but it's just the way it is. Like it falls into place, and then you do things to make it perfect once you find what you're looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So
Melissa,
good luck.
my wife is kissing you. She's blowing kisses at
Aw,
you.
thank you, Mara. So happy to read for you guys.
All right.
Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you. And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
It's Reverend Melissa Kennedy. So easy.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, if you guys want to see
Yeah.
more of what the good Reverend has there, then take a look at her channel. Thank you so
Jeff.
much. Have a
Thank
great
you, Mara.
evening.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, there she goes. All right. Next up is Nicole Kerr. And hello? Hey, Nicole.
Jeff, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I got an update.
An update? Well, tell us about it.
Okay,
Wait,
well,
you may need to remind us before, because some of these people may not have been here the last time. So you kind of maybe give us a brief, like a recap.
Recap.
Is that what they say on TV? The skip the recap? You know what I mean? Like when you're watching Netflix, you can watch it or skip it, but we need the recap.
Yes.
All right, tell us about it. There? Hello? Can you hear me?
It's a delay.
Oh, okay. Yes. Give us a little brief recap before you give us the update.
Okay.
Do you have the YouTube on or something?
Yeah.
You need to probably do that, is go to the YouTube video and mute that. Maybe that's why we don't hear it, but maybe on your end, you're hearing echoing.
Yeah. So that'd be a force.
That may be
That's
freaking
it.
you out.
Well, I published my book, You Are Deathless, and I was
Awesome.
on your show.
What number were you? I'm trying to remember. It's hard for me, though. I would say within the last 6 months.
Okay, let me see if I can get this.
Are you still hearing us echo?
There's Zoom and then there's,
Let
I'm
me
not
see.
finding the YouTube.
It's going to be in one of your windows. One of your windows. You probably it's like behind something else. And while you're looking at that, I'll try to find the podcast that we did together.
No, not anymore. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Did you find it? Right there you are. All right, I found you. Did you get rid of the YouTube? Maybe not. All right, for those of you that are listening while she's trying to figure this out, I posted it about 7 months ago. And the title is She Saw an Angel like Casper the Ghost during her NDE. It's number 610. So wow, it's about 150, more than that, probably 175, 180 podcasts.
I can't find the window. This is like Mercury retrograde.
Okay. Well, are you on a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
All right. Well, then at the top left, you should be able to minimize your Zoom screen. Can you minimize that? Now, if you don't find your YouTube, keep minimizing until you find YouTube. Are you on Safari or Google Chrome?
Mac.
And you guys, this is kind of like a behind the scenes. Did you get it?
I've minimized that.
Okay, so if you minimize anything else, you should have. If you keep minimizing things, you should probably eventually get to The YouTube video.
Sabari.
Oh, you could probably, well, I don't know if your Zoom is going through if you have the app or you're going through your Safari.
Can I just restart everything and come in on Zoom again?
Why don't you do that? Why don't you leave and come back, and you just have to get back in line, but we'll get you back.
Okay.
Right.
I'll get back in line.
I'll let you leave though, because if I kick you out, it may be difficult to get back in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you back into the waiting room. And then while you're figuring, oh, she's gone. All right, well, that's okay. All right, next up is our good friends Steve and Evan and Paul Anthony Wallace. I don't know if he's going to be with them at the same time. Should I bring him in? We'll ask Steve and Evan or Paul separately. Now, I've done 2 podcasts with Paul, and he has some amazing books out, and he just had a 3rd one come out, and we've been talking about getting him back on the podcast. And I don't know if our messages are where we're at on that. We were talking about scheduling him, and it'll be great that he's here because we can finally get him scheduled. Hello, Steve and Evan.
Hello, how you going?
All right, I see Paul's here too. Is he supposed to be with us at the same time?
Well, yeah.
He's part of your shindig coming up, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Well, let me bring him in. Let me bring him in too.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And so we'll have a UFO party here.
I thought you like it.
Do you know? Well, Paul's almost here. Do you know of Roger Lear, the late Roger Lear, from AlienScalpel.com, the guy that used to cut out implants of people?
Oh wow!
He has. I don't know how long ago he had passed, but anyways, I just did a podcast with his assistant, and he's a chemist and a metallurgist, and would examine these implants. Paul, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jeff. How are you going?
Great to see you.
Likewise.
I was telling everybody that we've been trying to get you on for your new book, but I don't think we ever finalized a date yet.
No, we haven't pinned that down, but I want to do that. I'm really looking forward to talking to you about it.
That's great. So you're going to be doing...
I hear your voice every couple of days at home, Jeff.
Oh yeah, that's great.
My wife, Ruth, is an avid follower of your channel, and wow, you get some really fascinating guests on.
Well, tell her thank you so much. And I'm very lucky because I get to talk to all these amazing people like you 3 here. So what is the big shindig?
That you're talking to us.
What is the big shindig that you guys are going to be up to?
Well, yeah, we've been sort of building this one up for a couple of months. We've got 2 books we wanted to put out, which we have just put out, and Paul's got one. And what's interesting is all 3 of them have, yes, you're right, we have an alien underplay, but it's all done in different ways. I mean, Paul's going to go through the biblical part of that, the fact that it was hidden there. We're going to be looking at some work that was found by an archaeologist called Frederick Slater in the 1930s. And he discovered a document that was created by a lady called Eliza Hamilton Dunlop in the 1830s, just when the whites got to Australia. And she won the trust of the original people there, and she wrote down what was called the first language. It was called the spirit or soul language. And she recorded all of it because this elder was concerned it was going to disappear. And what the claim was, this was the first language not just spoken in Australia, but in the world. And it was one universal language. Now, that might sound radical, but if you go to the Bible, they'll tell you about the Tower of Babel. And before the Tower of Babel fell, everyone spoke one language. Now, what Slater claimed about that language was, he claimed it was the most divine language that ever existed, and that the people who spoke it lived in a civilization was the highest point of humanity ever. And he said that was created by the language because it was like a confluence between the spirits, humans, and aliens, a language put together by all of them. And all of the meanings, and we've got many of the meanings, in fact, we've got all of the meanings, are spiritual. And that's why it's called spirit language. So we've got that book, and we've actually found Slater's original documents. We thought they were gone and destroyed, didn't we?
Yeah, because he sent them off to England to get published during World War II, and I think the publishing house got bombed.
Wow.
But we found his
manuscript with all of his written on it.
It's got bits crossed out.
Sometimes you don't know what he's written, but we found that, and it's got the full first language. Now, Jeff, our big problem, I've got to be quick because we've got to get to Paul, of course. Our big problem with this was when we got the book, my issue was, do I put the words out? That was the real big issue. Do I put these sacred words out that have been hidden for so long? And the answer came to me two ways around. The first part was my elder, about 5 years before, sent me a document. And in that document, he put all these symbols and he called it first language. Well, it turned out that every symbol he wrote down was in this guy's book. They were identical. And he died in 1947, and Kano sent me this about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly the same symbols that proved to me that this is legit. This was the first language ever written. And then it came to me that if it was spoken around the world, then it should not be hidden from the world.
Yeah, it belongs to the world.
It belongs to the world. So what we're doing, we're putting out a series of books. The first one is just setting up the scene. And in the second book, we're publishing every one of the sacred words. And we've been told we're going to get hammered. So basically, that's the launch on that one. We've got another book, which is Interview with an Alien, which is where Leah is in contact with Mesref. And we primarily, in that, it's not so much about aliens. It's more about religion, isn't it?
Yeah.
And spirituality.
Let me ask Paul a question here real quick. You know, Paul, what's so popular these days on YouTube is talking about the simulation theory and soul traps. Do you think that there's anything within the Bible that would suggest that?
Oh, that's a great question, Jeff. I think the canon that we now have, it would be thin pickings to find anything that sounds like simulation theory. But if you go back to the beginning of Christian history, before Christianity was narrowed down into this orthodoxy, and before the kaleidoscope of texts had been sorted through and a selection had been chosen to become the authorized canon, right at the beginning, there was this kaleidoscope of texts. And if you read the other documents, the other gospels that didn't make it in, that's when you will hear language that is very reminiscent of simulation theory. The idea that everything we're familiar with in the material universe isn't really real, and that there's a more real reality beyond. And that's why we can sort of break the laws of cause and effect with which we're so familiar in this life experience. And so you get to the Gnostic Gospels, and you'll hear hints of that. It's there partly because it's also there in Plato. It's in Plato partly because it's there in Egyptian ancestral wisdom as well. So when you go back to the beginning, yes, the language of the holographic universe simulation theory is there, and it's sort of there as an explanation of why miracles are possible and why we should all be seeking to transform our human experience into something more empowered and more remarkable.
I want to ask you something controversial, and if I take you too far in the wrong direction, just let me know. But I heard a guy that was interviewed said that the Romans kept meticulous records of everything. And the fact that that we do not know anything of Jesus's life for so many years is because it's been hidden. Do you have a take on that?
Yes, I don't really go along with that. I think that's overstating Roman record keeping. At the same time, though, there's a bit of mystery over why there's so little about the life of Jesus. We're aware of some other documents other than the original Gospels that talk about Jesus, some of which the Vatican have and have talked about, and then there's a couple of references in Roman writing, but not as much as you would expect given the impact of Jesus on history. And so that is one of the reasons why I think people are still so fascinated by the figure of Jesus and working out who he was. Was there a real historical Jesus? And if so, how similar to the religious Jesus was the real one? And I think there's a lot of room for discussion there because record keeping from that time is not meticulous in that kind of way. There's a bit more of a gap in our knowledge than perhaps a lot of believers would be comfortable with. That's my take.
All right. One last thing before I just get you for a full podcast. Now, in your books, you talk about and you study cultures from all over the world, right? And how they tie into extraterrestrials and other things with their local myths and stories. Do you know of any of the stories around the what do they call that? Around the stones of Armenia? They have also they have a hinge there that's older than the Stonehenge, and it has holes in it drilled through it, like looking up to the stars. And some of the carvings look like gray aliens. Have you looked into that at all? It's
no,
called
I haven't. That sounds like there's another book in that for sure. But certainly the custom of erecting standing stones to mark places of contact, that can be found in many cultures around the world. And then megalithic sites that are oriented around the stars. Yes, many cultures have that. So I'm not surprised to hear of the Armenian henge, the Armenian stone circle. I would love to study that because it does seem to fit into a much wider pattern that relates to contact with people from the stars, but also a global language, a global culture, emblems, motifs that repeat in glyphs and carvings all around the world, that hints at a time when human society on planet Earth in the deep past was far more connected internationally than ever we've believed. And I want to come back to what Steve and Evan were saying about the joined upness of culture and language in the distant past, because language and linguistics was my first love. And when I first went to university, it was to study those things. And I remember my jaw dropping when I heard our lecturer in linguistics saying that at that time, this was in the 80s when I was doing my first degree, that there was if not a consensus, a significant body of opinion in linguistic academic circles that you could trace the lineage of all the existing languages on planet Earth back to 3 mother languages, and that there were some scholars who argued for evidences that those 3 had a shared mother, that there was no original single language, and that the structure of that language represented greater order and greater sophistication than in today's languages. And my jaw dropped because that goes in the opposite direction of our conventional evolutionary theory, where human beings are getting more and more clever and sophisticated. In the past, we were stupid. In the present, we're incredibly clever. That's the meta-narrative, but the linguists of the 1980s are saying, no, it runs the other way. More ordered, more sophisticated in the past. So that just repeats what Stephen and Evan have found in their research, which I find absolutely fascinating.
Would you say that one of the 3 is the Indo-European language, the base of that? Because I think Aramaic is part of that. Hindu is part of that, and even Armenia as well. They're kind of all those old ancient cultures are based on those languages.
Yes, that was certainly a significant epicenter, but I think the theory of unitary language goes beyond that story, and it's a mystery and a moot point as to where on the planet we might be looking at that point. So I'm very open to what Stephen and Evan are bringing in their new books.
Well, I want to let everybody know, because I ask this question from time to time, and I got it from Paul about acquired savant syndrome, because I've just kind of taken that to the next level, that I feel like an NDE is some sort of version of that, where people get these new psychic-like abilities after a neurological impact of dying. And that all came from Paul when he was talking about basically we got dumbed down because we were getting too powerful. And I think that's part of the story of the Garden of Eden, right?
That's right. Yes, it is. So the Garden of Eden, the story that we think of as the fall, is when you look at the source narrative from ancient Sumeria, it's really a conflict among powerful ones discussing how intelligent human beings should be. And the story of the development of humans in the Bible goes upgrade, upgrade, downgrade. In Genesis 11, with the destruction of the spacefaring culture there's a dumbing down of civilization on Earth at that point. And you can find that echoed in narratives all around the world. You've got that in the Zeus and Prometheus story. You've got that in the story of Quetzalcoatl in Mesoamerica. And the dumbing down is interesting because the implication of these ancient stories is that we have in our brains higher cognitive abilities, latent, but now in the off position. And all around the world, there are shamanic and mystical protocols designed to switch those capacities back on. And it dovetails with a real life science. So peer-reviewed neuroscientists around the world study acquired savant syndrome, where higher cognitive abilities are knocked on by accident through a stroke or a brain injury. And those scientists are asking, how is it possible that in our brains there are higher abilities latent and in the off position? Well, our ancient narratives have an answer, that's the story of our development as a species, that we used to be smarter and then we were dumbed down. And it echoes in original Australian story too, which is something Stephen and Evan can speak to.
Since you guys are all in Australia, and I'm 99% positive that Stephen and Evan has been there, but have you been to the place where they have the hieroglyphics on the wall?
Go on, Stephen, Evan. This is your territory.
I thought that was yours. Yeah, we've been to the place with the hieroglyphics on the wall about 40 times. I can close my eyes and visualize all of it. Yes, we've definitely been there.
Yeah.
And it's definitely got the narrative. It very much, we know there's two different narratives there. There's an Egyptian narrative and there's a far more ancient narrative there.
Yeah.
And on that more ancient narrative, the most common glyph is called the UFO glyph. Now, that's not what we call it. It was called that when we got there. It was
just
everyone calls it that because I think in the 1990s there were UFOs hovering about 2 k's away from where that was. Hundreds saw it and had 5 legs hanging down, sucking up water. Well, all of these UFO glyphs have 5 legs, don't they?
They have 5 legs, and it's there's even an engraving overlooking the bay. That's a massive version of what you see on the walls, overlooking where they saw it in the 90s as well. So, yeah,
it's got 5 legs too, isn't it?
It does, yes.
Yeah. Look, there's those glyphs are a story of Egyptians turning up, then a story that goes back further of aliens turning up. And for those people who think, oh, can you prove it? We can. Because Auntie Minnie Mace picked up 2 objects between the glyphs.
Yeah, back in the early 90s,
both were just bits of dirt.
And
the spirit said, take it home, and she spent half an hour clearing one off, and she found a metal object. Now, that metal object we've had analysed. 73% aluminium, 3% copper, 24% not on the earthly periodic table, does not exist. I had one of the top scientists in the country look at this metal, and he said to me, it feels like aluminium, it looks like aluminium, but it's harder than steel. He said, if you could tell me what was in there, we could make billions of dollars. So don't tell me that somebody made this one piece of metal and dropped it on the ground and left it there, and it was left there and covered in dirt this thick and then picked up. Yes, there's 3 stories there. There's an Egyptian story there, there's an original story there, and there's an alien story there. Very much like the Bible, like all the scriptures. We covered everything. You put it in words. In Australia, we put them on the walls, and they're still there to this day. And of course, it's been sealed off by the government. And if you go there, you get into trouble now, don't you?
Yeah, people follow you around. What are you doing? Where are you going?
Yeah,
Wow.
they're in the bush all the time asking you why you're there. And they just turn up out of the bush now. So yes, yeah, that's an interesting place.
Well, before I go, when is your event? Is it this coming weekend?
It is. So for North America, you're looking at the 27th of May, down Australia way, the 28th of May.
All
So
right.
it'll be the Saturday for you guys over in North America, and the Sunday for us down
So
the
it's
other end of the earth.
in 2 weeks. And where is the website that they can watch it at?
Yep. So you can watch it through our YouTube, actually, as well as Facebook. So we'll simulcast it on both, and it's free to watch on the day and for about a day afterwards. And then, then it's just for our subscribers. So you've got a good block of time to get in and watch us all then.
And
if you like what you saw, you could always become a subscriber and watch the other 28 chapters.
There you go. What is the name of your YouTube channel?
Forgotten Origin.
Forgotten Origin. All right.
But if you go to our alien ancestry .net, and you can click on the link, it will give you all the information you need to know how to register. So you'll get like a little bing to come along on the day. And
All right. Well, guys, thank you for coming and telling us about it. It was great seeing you all again. And for Paul, I know you have beautiful children, and so tell your wife Happy Mother's Day for us.
I will do that. Thanks, Jeff. That's lovely. And look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, likewise. All right, guys, we will see you later, and I hope you have a great show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mm-hmm. All right, so they'll be doing a show coming up soon, and I needed to give them a big round of applause. All right, Mana Moshe is here. Now, Mana was a guest as well, and we'll see what she's up to. I think she's been on a Saturday night. I'm not sure, but I thought she has. Hello, Mana? Can you hear? I wonder if she's... Can you hear me? Let's see. Oh, she doesn't have her audio's not on yet. Let's help her. Waiting for audio to sync. And these were made by our good friend here, Penny Sutton. I don't know if I've seen her tonight. I haven't seen her so far, but she's usually here, and she made me these cards, and she makes all kinds of greeting cards and wedding invitations. So if you are looking... And she's a designer, and she designed one of our mugs. Mana, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, and welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing divine, and yourself?
Great, thank you. Anna, do you remember what podcast number you were?
No, I had written it down. I think it was something like 759 or something.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember myself either, but that's okay.
Yes.
So, what have you got for us that's new today?
Well, when I had my divine experience, one of the gifts that was given to me to bring back is to be able to be a portal for the divine feminine energy, the great cosmic mother, my ancient ancestral matriarch and matrilineal society, the civils, all these divine feminine energies. And so tomorrow is Mother's Day. Yes. So I received a download. When I receive a download, I always write it out as the spirit is giving it to me.
When did you receive this?
Oh, this one. Oh, not too long ago. What was it? A week or so ago.
Before you tell us, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before you tell us about it, what is that you have in your hand?
Oh, it was the original tablet.
No, not the download. It looked like you had some kind of metallic thing in your hand.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what is that?
This is an ancient Tibetan scroll holder that the divine ancestors led me to receive. So whenever they give me a message, I roll it up and I put it inside here. And then when I get ready to read it, I open it up and take it out so I can be in alignment with the Ancient of Days.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Well, tell us about that download.
Okay, so the download is a divine message from the great cosmic mother, the universe, the black womb that gives everybody and everything into existence. And so she's given me this message, and I believe it would be appropriate to read. It's just one page. And this would be to, I guess you can say, Happy Mother's Day. Happy divine feminine energy every day. And even among the masculine energies, everyone, whether you're male or female, has a masculine and feminine energy within them. So even when I'm reading this, among the mothers, the womb mountain, they can probably relate to it as well. And if they can't, they can transfer it over to their sisters or wife or daughters. So you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Arise, queen within. Your divine feminine energy is at hand. You are a significant and valued cornerstone. The great divine cosmic mother, for we do live in the midst of the cosmic universe presence. Mothers of all nations, woman, the first feminine reflection of the cosmic womb of the heavenlies, truthful self-sacrifice, genuine, strong, and compassionate, self-creatress, inner goddess of wisdom, for solutions for our self-evaluation and evolution out of confusion of who and what our divine purpose and potential is. In the midst of the cosmic paradigm shift to uplift out of the murky patriarchal ditch, to switch your ways of thinking and doing is for your rise and not your demise. You are the life source and force connected to our cosmic mother, the architect of existence, and that supplied us with our inner consciousness, speaking to us to encourage interject extension of the great mothers of all nations elevation. Ask your eternal mother, the cosmic great mother of omnipresence and omnipotence, to feed you with divine enlightenment and guidance to the reclaiming of your earthly throne, reserved to emerge in such a time as this, that you may know when things look dark and no hope in sight of broken dreams and shattered lives of religious and political promises of lies, that you have an ultimate light that outshines church, mosaic, temples, or shrines, dimming lights of religious plights for your demise. With your own birthright and growing pains of intense experience of government policies, the facts and ups and downs, your crown remains and not cast to the ground. You have the power to redefine that gives you the power to control, whether a current or past strip pull on the stroll or corporate stilettos. You are a master over all your feelings and emotional situations and respondents that determines your own destination of self-preservation. You are the power to mend the brokenhearted, yet with you it shall be started. You are the current, therefore I will walk. We shall walk as we learn and learn as we walk. Unswayable, more action and selective, reflective, and elective lady got walk discretion. A precious precision of decisions beneficial to your family, your friends, your communities, and the renewal of matriarchal, matrilineal kinship nation building. You are here as the eye to contribute to the needs of the unseen, the unheard, the uncared for, in their own uniqueness for the complementary of our age, for change. You are the epitome of relevance, excellence of your individuality in your being, caring, doing, and sharing. In your self-discipline, you are recognized by loving, healing, feminine power within, showing gratitude for the promised course for divine enlightenment, of attitude for altitude, of the magnitude of reflection and manifestation, of divine feminine trinity reestablishment. We are the objects and subject of the cosmic mothers elect that the artificial intelligence builders rejected because you don't fit their docile mode of their self-appointed minions' directives of slave management. You are the seed of the woman, the wisdom of dominance of dominions of tangible and perceivable, approachable, achievable, a mindful integrity, rooted in Ma knows best, safetyness, mother of all nation, woman, you are the one who the universe is realigning below to reflect the above. Are you ready to rejoice and delight in the reality of absolute abundance, in protection, provision, counsel, and comfort, healing of the promise of the cosmic mother embrace? Out of the minds, hands, and plans of the colonizers deface of your birthright significance, relevance, woman's wisdom, brilliance, counseled by the hidden one, yet omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, omniferous, and omnicompetent, infinite internal intelligence, one and all her attributes, for you are the apple of her eye, sun and moon, worth to rise without validation of self-appointed man-made administration, not in alignment of your exaltation of global healing, inauguration, of peace and truth and balance, order, law, justice, and harmony. Time to rise up, so your children can grow up. Embrace the desire to be emptied, epitome, to be refilled of what is real, purified, transformed, rebirth, reinforced, and re-energized, strengthen, receive, breathe of renewal life, and the resurrection in your truth. You are a light to the world and can be spiritually guided and counseled by the absolute supreme glory of divine feminine energy divinity. As you reflect the cosmic reigning, crown and spiritual sequel to being the seed, the fruit of the first woman DNA intelligence. You are significant and valued and relevant. As it is written, as it is spoken, as it is believed, as it is pursued, so shall it be done.
I was going to say, so shall it be. Well, thank you so much, Mana, for sharing that with us. I need to run. I'm overtime, and I've got more people in the waiting room.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, and I wish you a very happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
All right, you take care. Have a great weekend.
All right, you do the same.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And a big round of applause for her. All right, so Nicole Kerr, maybe we've got it working now. Oh, and I need to say this before I do this, though I'll admit her. And while she's admitting, I gotta say a big thank you to Top Notch. Thank you for that super thanks. We really appreciate it. And it says, sending our love and energy out from Georgia. The Reynolds are blessed. Well, thank you so much again for that. Nicole, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yeah, everything's good now?
Yes, I apologize to you and
okay.
your audience.
That's okay.
I minimized the screen as much as possible, and there was nothing behind it. So I guess that there was a viewer that needed to hear something I have to say later. Maybe that wasn't on earlier. I don't know, but
that's okay. That's okay. It always works out. And I was saying that I found our podcast together. It's number 610. That was about 180 ago, almost 190 ago. And that was, it says 7 months ago. And the title is She Saw an Angel Like Casper the Ghost During Her NDE. So if you guys want to check out that one, it's there for you. And you had an NDE when you were in the Air Force, right?
I was actually a cadet at the Air Force Academy. I was one of the first female cadets. And I was in a car crash. A senior was driving and I was a passenger in a Corvette convertible. And we were on our way back to the academy. And needless to say, we never made it back. He had been drinking and flipped the car. And my memory came back 20 years later. The only thing that I remembered at that time was bright white lights. And it's this sense of floating, and this light was a good place. It was a safe place and a place without pain. It was like a cloud and you're like an astronaut gliding upward. And I just remembered that piece of it and nothing else. And then 19 years later, fast forward, I'm working at the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia. I come out of Starbucks, I get my car, and I remember exactly how I was sitting in the car, which prompted me to understand the injuries that I received, which are all detailed in the book. But I basically amputated my left foot. I cut up all the area in between my anal and sphincter, vagina area. I severed my right wrist. I had a bad road burn. Anyway, it was bad. I was pronounced dead at the scene. My body left when my memory came back. My soul left my body when I went up through the windshield. And then when I got to the other side, I learned the lessons that I needed to come back and tell people, the main one, which was to not be afraid of death. And hence the title of my book, You Are Deathless. But I didn't want to come back. So that was one of the first things that was really hard for me, because I could see my body, the physical body, in the ditch and all the injuries. And I knew being in that body was going to be very painful, and I was going to endure a lot of suffering. Plus, I was going to be going back to a family that was very religious. And the concept of God that I was raised with was differing from what I was experiencing on the other side. So how do you integrate that when they're religious addicts? And the third is my dad blamed me for the crash because I broke his rules, and he was a Marine. And even though that's not true, as a child, I took on that blame and the disappointment. And now he didn't love me and accept me because I screwed up. Becoming an officer in the U.S. Air Force. So that has never been reconciled to this day, and it never will, and he'll never forgive me. So those are the reasons I did not want to come back. And what happened, and what I want to update people on, is my grandfather on my father's side was an alcoholic. So my dad forbade alcohol. I had not had alcohol until I got to the academy that day and had 2 beers. And hence, I get in a drunk driving accident. How ironic is that? The guy was double over the limit. And just on April 13th, as an update, well, first of all, let me update you that I now know that Casper the ghost, who was male, who I had all the descriptors of, is actually my grandfather on my father's side that was the alcoholic. And he came to me right after the book was published in mid-August, when he died at the age of 58 from a massive heart attack. So here I am, 58 years old, in a meditation, and I all of a sudden I smell cigar smoke, and he smoked cigars. And I was like, where is this coming from? Because nobody around me smokes cigars. And so I just knew it was him. And he started telling me that he was the one, he was Casper the ghost that came down and lifted me up to this other dimension to hear these messages. So I got clarity now, because a lot of people, when they have an NDE, say they see a deceased loved one or a relative that they know comes to them. And I just didn't have that memory piece. All I could say was it was Casper the ghost, you know? So that has come since the book has published. And the second NDE, because I knew I had multiple, and the doctor even said in the book, she told me you had multiple surgeries and you had multiple near-death experiences. So just 2 weeks ago, my husband and I are on a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to New Orleans, and we hit massive turbulence for about 90 minutes. We're going down there for the jazz, for the festival down there. And I was seatbelted in. There's no way out. You can't, jump out the window or the escape, pull the escape thing. And I'm not in control. I'm not the pilot, right? He's locked in there. So at least I was in first class, and my husband got up, to the flight attendant was like, nobody should be standing up. And he's like, I got to get her meds. She's going to lose it here. And my husband was there, and he knows how to deal with me in a panic attack, but it was still awful. And for that entire time, my nervous system was just fried. And I believe that this was the trigger for the details of the event of my second near-death experience. So I just wanted to share with people what that was. So this is after almost 40 years. This August, it'll be 40 years. And these memories are still coming back. So I want people to know that trauma and repressed memories and healing takes time. You have to be in a safe environment. You have to be in a supportive environment. But when they come back, man, they come back. So this was an emergency surgery on the night of September 16th, 1983, which was about 2 weeks after the initial crash. And here's what I recalled. My military angel, who I called James, that's the one that saved me. He has always been around to protect me. He has been in this angelic form and surrounding me since the car crash happened on August the 28th. And he's never left me, and he's fought very hard to keep me on the earthly side. And he's never going to leave me until I pass over and his services are no longer needed. Now, Dr. Stewart, who was my surgeon for this whole 4-month period where I had 6 major surgeries, noted that I started coding, which meant my heart was stopping on the way to the operating room for an emergency surgery at one point. So what they had to do in the operating room, they strapped my hands down, they covered up my face, but they could not put me all the way under the anesthesia because they would lose me. So they just gave me a light dose of it, and they gave me a muscle relaxant. So I remember hearing voices, and I remember feeling this tugging. I did remember that. But in this memory, all of a sudden in the operating room, I could feel the knife going down from my sternum all the way down to my pubic region. They cut, and they were trying to get 3 bacteria that had lodged into my system. And if you think about it, they had all this, gravel and feces and dirt and all fiberglass from the car that had gotten into me. And I had developed sepsis, I had developed gangrene, and this was not getting better. So the only thing that they could do was to do a colostomy to divert the stool and hope that that area healed up. But my husband had made gumbo because we were going to New Orleans the week before, and he burnt it. And I swear, Jeff, I couldn't eat any of that gumbo. So he ate 5 bowls of it one day, every day. And I was like wrenching. I couldn't even go in the kitchen. The smell was so horrible. And I thought, oh my God, that's the smell that I smelt in the operating room of all this putrid bacteria that was coming out of me. And so it was just like, I wanted to throw up in the, in the airplane there, and the nausea was not getting any better. the medical team, like I said, was trying to deal with the bacteria, and it wasn't working to use the antibiotics. And so I proceeded to fly out of my body again once she did the colostomy. And I was already sliced open. My energy body was sliced open. So I just flew out. And my grandfather, Angel James, he caught me, and we didn't go. We left the operating room. We left the hospital, and we went into the heavens, so to speak, but we didn't go all the way back to the level in the space that we were the first NDE. And, Dr. Stewart and the team, they were fighting to keep me alive. They announced the code blue in the OR1. They said they lost me. My heart stopped. They went, Dr. Stewart called the time of death. A surgical nurse went to the chapel to tell my parents that I didn't make it and she was sorry and they should start making funeral arrangements. And while I was, quote, dead, Angel James told me I had to get back in my body. But now with the colostomy and now all these scars, I was like, I don't want to live like this. My pain was compounded. So I didn't want to live on earth anymore. It was just going to be horrible. So I did not want to come back. Jeff, I really didn't.
I don't blame you.
But James told me that I really needed to, and that he would always stay with me. And to his credit, he has and is. And he told me when the time was right that I had a really important message to tell people, and that's to not fear death. And then out of nowhere, my heart started beating again. So another nurse ran back to the chapel and told my parents my heart was going again. Dr. Stewart and her team finished, they had to clamp me up because they thought they may have to go in again. So I have 8 clamp marks down each side of my, the line that goes down the center of me, where they use these plastic like tie clamps to clamp me up. And they put me on a ventilator, they strapped my hands down and sent me to the recovery room. And I will tell you, the sepsis and the gangrene and the other bacteria responded to the treatment after that. And healed up, but I never knew how close I was to losing my right leg to gangrene. They didn't tell me that till weeks later. And it's estimated that this near-death experience lasted about 2 minutes. And all this time I was never alone. James was with me the whole time. And that trigger caused me, let me tell you, I had to get back and see my therapist and get back on medication because it just was so intense to have to live through something like that again and remember it in that level of detail. And that's why it wasn't in the book. It was really brushed over in the book. So I wanted to share that with your readers, that these memories do come back.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And your book just came out?
In August, but
it's coming out in August. Okay.
No, it did this past August.
Past August. Okay.
But I just did the Audible version so those of you who don't like to read, you can get the Audible version and listen to it. It's about 7 hours. And I narrated it myself, which was very challenging, but I thought I should do my own story in my own voice. And I tell you, doing that and then hearing yourself tell your own story, whew, that's intense.
I bet.
But that's out now. And I'm just really wanting people to start discussing the positive pieces of death instead of most writers write about doom and gloom and negativity and all of that. And from my experience, there's so much that I gained out of this that I wrote in the book, that there's 10 common NDE lessons, and all of them are positive. All of them. We're not judged on the other side. We're not alone. All of these things that some of us may have been taught in religious theology are just not true. And they're designed to keep us in fear so that we stay in control. And the whole objective is not to be in fear.
What is the title of your book? And do they find the Audible version on audible.com or Amazon?
You can get it on Amazon and it'll click you over to Audible. But so it's You Are Deathless, a near-death experience taught me how to fully live and not fear death. And I even I'm a dietitian by training, but I put in as one of my credentials, you're going to laugh, BTDT, been there, done that.
Oh, yeah, and I remember that.
And I think that's the most important credential for anybody. I don't care what letters of the alphabet you have after your name, because if you've gone through the experience, you're going to have the compassion, you're going to have the empathy and the sympathy with somebody, and that bond. And I hope people can learn from my lessons and not have to go through it themselves, because it's been a hard road to learn these lessons, but it is something, there's a lot of fear going around in our world today for various things. And a lot of people unconsciously fear death, but I'm here to tell you, you don't need to.
Well, Nicole, thank you for coming and sharing that with us and sharing some more information about your other NDE. We wish you the best, and
thank you
come back
so
and visit
much.
us again.
You are amazing. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. And we'll give her a big round of applause. All right, we're down to 2 last people, Mr. Cake and more. So let's bring in Stephen. I hear him. We just don't see him yet. I wonder if he's going to be with... he is with some orbs.
I'm here, folks. I made it. You didn't think I was going to be here, but I did it. I can do all things now. I am the Serpent King. Just keep drinking, Jeff. I got this one covered. You can just do whatever you want over there. I got this.
I'll just take off and call me when you're finished.
I'll put Mara on. Let's get a Mara on here and let's see how she's doing. She's a very fantastic woman. Doggy.
She said next time. She said next time.
Next time we'll get it.
We'll get her. So what's new with you this week, Stephen?
I just want to tell everyone I love them. I love them very much. I told 3 people today that I love them. 3 people that, don't, maybe I just saw at the store,
Mm-hmm. How did they react?
Oh, I think positively. I think this is what I say is like, this is one of the lessons I learned in Enlightenment is that we don't know the consequences of our actions. And they teach that in the near-death experience as well, is that you never know, saying... I love you and, have a great day and God bless and all that. Like that might brighten their day. Cause there was a priest I would visit St. Anne's and he would always tell me, God loves you. God loves you. And I said, that's what a priest should be, is someone that tells people that God loves them or that they're loved and be sincere about it. Not just God loves you. He'll help. God will help you. Now I'm going to go back to my stuff. And I don't like that. I got asked to leave churches because I would say, you people are saying one thing and then doing another. You're not practicing what they preach. So
now I have this video that was up yesterday about the simulation, and I thought that you commented that you thought her computer was taken over by the mind jackers.
The mind jackers, they take me right over. They know what they're... Yeah, I said I've had my mouth cursor move by itself. And I have phenomena all the time. Like this is a little bit out there, but so I thought I had a spirit with me, and I feel my bed being pressed down and moved, but they can make it feel like somebody is giving me like an exam in my rear end, if you know what I mean. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I've heard someone say things like that. But during the Enlightenment, I would ask, "Who's doing that?" And they'd say no one. They said no one's behind reality. So it's like the belief system they gave me, because they said we can't give you the truth, but we can give you a belief system that would the truth, if you could ever get it, because we're always on that search for the truth.
Right.
Yeah, they said no one's behind the wheel. I gave this analogy, the Wizard of Oz analogy. It's like you get up there to the Emerald Kingdom and you meet God. And I was talking to God, and then it's like you pull back the curtain and there's an old man there. But they said, no, it's like you pull back the curtain and nobody's there. Reality's running itself, because it's like, who created this? And, but I say the great mind, or the mind that we're unaware of, that gives us dreams and visions. And
Is it possible if you pull back the curtain, it's you that are there?
Yes, it's me. That's what they tell me. They said, maybe I was just in a conversation. So right now I have a voice with me. It's like in my mind. It's like I'm not alone anymore. I thought I was alone. I was like, God, where are you? And they just started speaking to me in my mind. and so, but now it's not God anymore. I say it's the voice that just corrects me, that just says, this is how it should be done. So over anything. And I thought my ideas were good. But they just can't get it wrong. It's like the voice just can't get things wrong. So it's like we got to listen to that correcting voice. But I say, can anyone hear this? And they say they don't want to hear it. I said you it's kind of like that manifesting thing. It's like you got to want these things to happen.
Now Luke has typed in here twice, Trump bear. Does that mean anything to you?
Let me tell you something, folks. Not guilty, folks. I didn't do it. I got lots of money, folks. I don't need to be going into department stores and other things. Whack jobs, folks. They're whack jobs.
I just didn't know that when you have Trump and a bear, what does that mean anything?
I don't know. Could mean anything. No, it could mean Kermit's here. Yay for him. Yeah, so I said in the mind interface, they gave me this mind interface. It's like a greater mind attached to our mind, and they could have me speak to whoever. They could have me speak to people that are living, people that are deceased. It's like this, and I said it's kind of like in the scene in Contact where Jane talks to her father, but it's not her father. It's like a perfect representation of her father. And I said that's what the mind interface does. This great mind. It could just say, like, you want to talk to your dad? You want to talk to Archangel Michael? Like Archangel Michael was in my battles that I had to fight demons, and he was right on my left. And then we had Jesus could just do anything, and I had to serve Mary and defend heaven. People had demons that needed to be loosened, so we would get battle reports, send them in there. I mean, I felt like I was in a dual world. Like I tell people, it's like the never-ending story where there's he yells out, I believe in you. Like, you got to believe in it. You got to believe.
I like it. I don't know if it was from a movie. I think it was from a movie that I just saw recently. Instead of saying, you've got to see it to believe it, it was the opposite. Yeah. You've got to believe it to see it.
Yeah, and I didn't even know this was possible. I had no clue at all. I had no clue this was even possible. And that's how reality is. Like, sometimes we just get that curveball. And we just go, here's what's happening. And I say they put the love of God in me, because it's like now I can do things. Like I was juggling in a grocery store for people, and just like stuff like before. I told you before I was in there dancing. Now it's like I get asked to leave places. If I say they kicked me out, the voice will correct me and said they didn't put a boot on your butt. They asked you to leave. See,
have you posted a walk and talk this week?
Oh, I put up a couple, but I wasn't feeling very happy. And I mentioned in one of them, I went down to the government building, and they didn't even know what the Bill of Rights was. Because I tried to say, I'm like, the Bill of Rights here, and my rights got violated, and I'd like to redress grievances. They have no clue at all what's going. That's why I say everything's got to be out in the open so people can see it. Because when people can see all the bad stuff that they're doing, then they'll say, this has to stop. That's why they want everything behind closed doors. They don't want anyone to know what's going on, even in a court. Because everyone would agree with me.
Greg is asking if you can do the Wicked Witch of the West.
I'm going to let them super spirits take over here. All right, Batty. We need Mark Hamill here to do this one. All right, darling, it's wonderful out here. I met the Queen. She's wonderful, isn't she? She's super special. Yay! Time to get super. Some people want entertainment. Some people like that. Some people like more spiritual things. So we got to keep it real simple for them. We got to get Forrest Gump out here. Maybe he'll tell me a little joke about Mama. Mama's up in heaven, and she came down here and she gave me a message. She says she loves you very much, but you need more. You need to eat something other than chocolates. Something more nutritious than that. But all right. How about those dinosaurs? Where Big Rex, I met a big dinosaur named Big Diner, and I got to pet the little But the little guy didn't bite those. Yeah, they during one of those battles, like I'd recruit a dinosaur. A dinosaur. That said, yes, I didn't. It's like they almost seem real. They almost seem real, and I was like petting. I was like, "You're very special." And they put like a squirrel on my shoulder and a chipmunk. It's weird. And let's just say you never have to look at anything online anymore because now you got a special friend with you all the time. Yes.
Well, Stephen, I've got to do what I've got to do. I'm 30 minutes into overtime, and I've got one last guest.
You got to do what you got to do, man. Okay, so me and Paul, we're going out later. You know, you want to come?
And I want to pass this along to you. I think she has a great idea. Julie's saying that you should try puppets.
Oh, I could do whatever I want. I'm so special up here. Yes. I love it. Just want to say I love you all very much and have a great night.
All right, Stephen, we love you too. We'll see you later.
God bless.
God bless you. All right, and our last one is Moremy.
We don't later, you know. I will come.
I want to pass this along to you. I think she has a great idea. Julie's saying that you should try. Moremy, are you there?
Hi.
Hi. You just have to. I think you did it. You just had to mute the YouTube, but you did it. All right. Well,
I did it. Okay.
Thanks. Well, where are you zooming from?
Hi, I'm zooming from Pennsylvania.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Well, what do you have to share with us tonight?
Well, first, I want to say that your podcast is amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you do.
Thank you.
And something just came in my head before I do kind of get into, like, I guess, a few experiences that I've had. Have you ever had experiences like this? Like, what made you start this podcast?
Nothing that's significant. These are just, NDEs among other things is just what I'm interested in. And that's what I wanted to talk about. And I get great guests like you to come share with us.
Awesome. Well, thank you for giving, everyone who's been on your podcast a platform. It's truly enlightening.
Well, thank you. What do you have to share with us?
So, I've been having some really interesting experiences. Like, throughout my life when I was younger, I for the first and kind of like the last time I ever kind of been on punishment, I was like kind of going into going to ninth grade summertime, and I started meditating, doing yoga and Pilates. So that left a big impression on me, and I really kind of fell off. But more recently, so I've kind of had like interesting experiences. Like when I was younger, I've had, outer body experiences. I saw myself on the bed before. Like one time I was walking through the hall, and like the football team was around the corner, and I was a cheerleader about to walk past them. And I don't know. I just, for some reason, like before I even got around there, I saw it first, but This is, I think, all kind of just from meditation and stuff like that. But more recently, I don't know why, but dragon spirits came to me in a dream. So I was, I had this dream of being in a school. And then suddenly we were outside kind of going up a building, and we were like ninjas. And two of my, I guess, ninjas that I was supposed to be kind of like fighting with, I feel like we were kind of being chased. They jumped behind me, and automatically I was like, well, that was like they're traitors, right? So I turned around, there's this big, dark, black sea. And all of a sudden, the two ninja warriors came out as light dragons. And it was the most beautiful, gorgeous thing I've ever seen, as if it was like truly, right in front of your eyes. And one was blue, one was red. And there was one that came out after them that was a huge, white, pure light dragon. And when I say that this dragon, as soon as the white light dragon came out, it filled me with a feeling of like awe, compassion, a warmth that I've never felt before. It really had to be the source energy. That's just all I can think about. When people have NDEs and they say that they felt the light or saw the light and feel this like all-encompassing energy, that's what I felt. And so I don't know, it's just so interesting to me because, you know, I didn't have to have an NDE to do that, but it's truly the most incredible. Sorry if you hear my dogs in the background playing with each other.
Have you seen the video that I did with Eric B? And sometimes he pops in on a Saturday night, and he isn't here tonight, but he is the one that was in contact with dragons. can't remember.
Oh my gosh.
And he, I don't know if it was an NDE or what, but he was in contact with dragons on the other side, and he feels like, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing, but I think he feels like they followed him back. And he takes pictures all the time of clouds shaped like dragons.
Wow, that is really incredible. What's his name?
His name is Eric, and I just pulled it up while you were talking so I could tell you. It's called, the title of the video is called He Was Saved by Archangel Michael.
Okay.
And if I click on it here, I should be able to know what number it is so I can tell you. I don't see what it is. It was uploaded February 5th. So if you go to my channel and you flip through the videos, you go back to February 5th. If you probably put at JeffMara Podcast Eric B, it should pop up, or JeffMara Podcast Saved by Archangel Michael. But he's the one guest, and now you're the second one that I've had that have seen dragons. And I think even on his YouTube channel he posts dragon stuff. Let me see if
I
he
will
has a YouTube
definitely
channel.
check that out because
Eric's YouTube channel looks like it's called Angel Portal 5378. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool to hear that another dragon. Oh, my wife shared the link, so it's right there if you want to check it out. But that's pretty cool that you've had that, and
thank you so much.
Yeah, and I think that's fascinating. You know, I mean, there's something to do with dragons because you know, not only is it in the history of Asia, but it's in the history of Europe. And what is it about that animal being that we're so drawn to?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, as soon as that happened, of course, I kind of started doing some research, and it's truly amazing, you know, that, I mean, of course, I've had an experience. I know many others probably have. So, I mean, they do say like dragons are kind of like the keepers of the universe, which is quite interesting. And the fact that this particular dragon, which it just amazes me that it was a pure white light, you know, gave me that feeling was really incredible. But and then I actually had another dream about a dragon, but these were like earth dragons this time, and like fire, just like earth dragons, huge, but they didn't give me that feeling of like a guide, you know. So it's just interesting about like there might be in different planes like different levels of dragons, and like just how we have different levels of consciousness. So, and then there was one last thing that I experienced. So I woke up one day and my can you hear my dog by any chance?
It doesn't bother me. We've had dogs,
I'm so
cats,
sorry.
chickens.
I'm trying to get her to stop.
That's okay.
I have 2 dogs, so they're playing. But I looked out the window and I saw like the Matrix code outside of my window. And you know, it's funny because they say, you know, if you have the choice of the red or the blue pill, which one would you choose, right? And I kind of regret to this day because I opened my eyes, I saw it, I closed my eyes for a second, opened it, it was still there. And then I wish I would have gotten up and like opened up the, you know, the blinds more and like really tried to see was it all over or not, and I didn't. But yeah, that was just really interesting to me. And then I did see that there was a philosopher, I forgot what his name was, but he saw a code just like that on his window, but he saw zeros or I think he saw 369.
Yeah, I've had that guest that has that. I don't know if that was the same guy you're talking about.
Are you serious?
Well, there's a guy that during his NDE he got all into the what's the guy's name? The Tesla numbers and the 369. But I also wanted to mention to you that I had a guest. I don't know if you've seen her, but ever since her NDE, she sees something in the sky. And it's like something up there, and I talked to her about it, and I've talked to Jason Brashears of Archaics. I don't know if you know him, but he also talks about that as well. And let me just, she is, and that one, her name is Rochelle, and that
So
one's,
I saw that one.
oh,
That's
yes.
one of my favorite
Oh,
episodes.
yeah.
Yes.
So, you have a lot in common with my guests.
That's wild. No, she made me kind of like look up in the sky, and I was like so badly wanting to see the city in the sky, but I couldn't. But
Well, listen, is it Moremy?
Yes.
Moremy, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today. I need to run, but we really appreciate you, and don't be a stranger. Come back and visit us again.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
You have a good night. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, she's gone. All right. Well, before we go, I want to say a big thanks to, they went to see Mika today. Mika got a lion cut, but for some reason they cut her face too short. She was supposed to, we like her face nice and fluffy, but they didn't keep it fluffy this time. Anyways, I wanted to give a big thanks to Leslie Kings for the super thanks. He was here somewhere. Let me see if I can find that. Leslie Kings. Thank you so much, Leslie Kings. And while we're at it, the paranormal party doesn't have to stop. If you like, you can go hang out with Leslie. I'm assuming he hasn't told me anything that's not happening. So Leslie is going to be channeling live music for you. If you want to keep hanging out and chat with each other, you can go to Leslie's channel. You can still chat and listen to his music. He's an amazing player, so I think you'll really enjoy that. Otherwise, thank you guys so much. Get untangled here. So much for coming and watching. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Yeah, the part of her line cut was this, and she's already grown out a little bit. Her legs were cut, and then we left like these little fluffy boots on her. But as she's grown out a little bit, they're not as obvious as it was before. But so tomorrow night's video is of a man that analyzes alien implants that are cut out of people's bodies, and we've got pictures of that for you. So if that's interesting for you, then I hope you watch it. Again, on Saturdays, I'm going to be reposting old videos, and also I've got ones. I wanted to say this. I just posted another video, and then instead of adding the Spanish and Portuguese to the video, this time I just went ahead and reposted them as separate videos. So I'm working on doing that, and I have another one to work for you. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with you. We really appreciate you. We love you guys.